When we invest in ourselves, we all shine. Together, we are Black beyond measure.
I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and it's time to get wealthy. You're going to learn exactly what you need to know and do to finally achieve the level of financial success that you desire and you deserve. You cannot turn on the television these days without seeing some older celebrity touting the virtues and benefits of reverse mortgages. Well, consumer advocates say that this particular product is ripe for scams on senior citizens because they don't understand that they're putting their most valuable asset at risk, hoping that they can gain some income. But here's what you need to know, and they don't want you to know about reverse mortgages. First of all, once you make the decision, it's hard to revert back to ownership of your home. Secondly, you still have to pay property taxes and insurance. And finally, that you're actually liquidating your financial asset from your heirs. That's why I am excited to have a conversation with someone today who found herself in that same situation. She was nearing retirement and looking for ways to earn more income. She considered the reverse mortgage, but because she found a different alternative, a couple of years later, she now finds that her net worth is over 7 figures. I am so excited to welcome Jacalynn Blankenship on Get Wealthy today. So welcome to Get Wealthy, Jacalynn.
Thank you so much for having me, Deborah. Really appreciate it.
I am really excited that you are willing to share this story because I believe you are going to inform others who may find themselves in that situation. So just share a little bit about yourself and how the whole reverse mortgage came into your radar.
Well, I'm a registered nurse. I work as a case manager, and I am also a new certified health and life coach. And I was putting together an LLC, which I do have now. Making Life Better is what it's called. And at the same time, I was looking at my home and trying to figure out ways to keep it and also to maintain it. And as I looked at my financial situation and I talked to a couple of financial individuals, they said, oh, well, you can just make your life easy by going ahead and getting a reverse mortgage. As soon as that happened, I was flooded with mail from various different companies that each had their own twist on getting a reverse mortgage. And then one day I was on Facebook, which I really was rarely on, and Deborah Owens and Wealthy You popped up, and she was talking about finding ways based upon your own opportunities to improve your quality of life as well as your financial situation. And she offered a program where you could, for 5 days, really just talk about wealth. And because I really didn't have any family or friends in my circle who talked about money, let alone wealth very much, I was excited to go ahead and take the plunge. It was one of the greatest decisions I've made. when she had me, or not just me, everyone who participated, take a look at your financial house, I realized that, wait a minute, maybe there is a possibility. And then spending time with her, talking about my situation, she began to show me that I had more assets than I really realized. I had accounts in so many different places for example, 401ks, that anytime I left a position and went to a new position, I just left the money there. And by showing me how to move that money and position myself so that I could get more earnings than I had been, I was able to see that, wait a minute, this house is really valuable. And further, you can get money out of it to help you. And more importantly, you can keep your home, which was my ultimate goal. And so I'm really grateful that this opportunity came to me. And I realized that I call it being in a situation where you have uneducated fear. You're afraid of making big changes. You're afraid of investing money, but you don't even know why. And you surround yourself with individuals who have the same philosophy. And so that's another thing that happened, because Wealthy You does promote community. And I began to look at my circle, and even though, you're going to have people from all walks of life that you relate to and enjoy being around, I began to talk differently and, became comfortable and, most importantly, confident about talking about money and wealth and wanting to have more so I could do more and give more to family, friends, and to share information that would help others to achieve their goals, be it a home.
Well, I love that, Jacalynn. I love the fact that you have kind of shared the fears that you have, because I think you are like so many people who don't know what they don't know. And what I would say is that so much of what you've been able to accomplish is because you had finally decided that you were going to take ownership. And so I want to shift just a moment, and you're very familiar with that, being actually a member of Wealthy You. The framework financial success is mindset, strategy, and execution. And I really feel like the first aspect of that, of your mindset, you talked about uneducated fear. And so that's really where I want to start with you, because when you reached out to these financial advisors, had you already been exposed to reverse mortgages, or is that something that after they looked at your situation, they decided would be a good option for you?
I had been exposed to someone who had done a reverse mortgage, and I was trying to understand why it was becoming so popular on television, especially. And so I'm not sure if I brought it up or the financial advisors brought it up, but they had it listed and a star by it. So that was clearly the plan that they had for me. And they never really had me take a look at all of my assets. They just said, well, if you have bills, if you have financial obligations like a car and what have you, and you have high monthly payments, a reverse mortgage is probably best for you. And it was something about the way they said that just didn't sit well with me. And the other thing is my mom, who had raised the four of us, for the most part on her own because she chose not to get married, but she fought and did everything she could, sacrifice, and she was able to keep her home. She didn't do a reverse mortgage. And that was looming in the back of my mind. How could she, with 4 children, do it? And I only had 2. And how was I, having such a difficult time? And what could I do about it?
Yes. Wow, you covered a lot of ground there. And so when we come back, what I want to talk about, and I think the audience needs to understand too, is the strategy behind what you were able to do so that you were all able to keep your home. And now that asset is appreciating more than anything else that you have. So don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back. When we come back, we're going to go right into the strategies that Jacalynn used so that she did not have to choose the reverse mortgage as an option.
When we invest in ourselves, we're investing in what's next for all of us. Growing, creating, making moves that move us all forward. Together, we are Black beyond measure.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in Black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it.
This is about covering us.
Invest in Black-owned media.
Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks.
We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible.
Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
Pull up a chair, take your seat at the Black Table with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
When we invest in ourselves, we all shine. Together, we are Black beyond measure.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and you're watching Get Wealthy. And that's exactly what we're talking about today, how you can not only get wealthy, but stay wealthy and keep your assets. With me today is Jacalynn Blankenship. She is someone who was considering a reverse mortgage, and because she didn't take that option, now sees her net worth above 7 figures. Jacalynn, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story with us, because there are a couple of things, members of this audience, that I want to make sure that they're taking note. And you just alluded to it, right? So one of the reasons you didn't take that mortgage because you thought about your own mother and the fact that she was able to keep her home. Yeah. And then the other, so I want folks who have parents who are seniors, for them to be made aware that this could also be proffered to them, and they may not even know that their parents are considering this as an option, and that they need to make sure that they're protecting their financial legacy, which is exactly what you did, Jacalynn. So I want to talk about strategy now. So you happen to be watching, on Facebook, and we conduct these challenges every other month or so. They're called a Savvy Makeover Challenge, and they're really designed to help you get a handle on your finances, right? So Talk to us a little bit about, once you joined the challenge, what was the thing that really stood out to you about what your current situation really was?
The education that I received during that week was off the chain. I found out that my house was worth so much more than I realized it was, because I started investigating. I started talking to realtors who were interested in purchasing my home. And through that, I realized, wow, this is pretty valuable. Then I started thinking about, well, maybe if I could, put more into my home, maybe make some repairs and that kind of thing, I could increase the value. But I didn't really think I could find the money to do that. And then I started interviewing lenders. And I happened to interview a lender who had actually quite a Christian background, explained my story to him, and he began to share with me options that I had for actually refinancing my house. And that refinancing gave me an opportunity to do even more to increase the value of the home. I think that the best thing is that I started, in terms of strategy, questioning individuals instead of just absorbing what they were telling me. I started reading. I started listening to some of the free YouTube messages about you too can have this. And I just decided that a reverse mortgage was not an option for me.
You also alluded to something else that I think is important. And I often say to people that sometimes you're standing 10 feet away from gold, but because you have no idea what you're looking at, you don't really understand the value of it. And you talked earlier about the fact that you have been leaving these different jobs and leaving your 401k there. Talk to the audience just a little bit about what you discovered once you started investigating all of the assets that you actually had accumulated.
I discovered that the particular investments that were being presented in my portfolio, that those were some very low producing stocks and bonds and mutual funds, and that I had lost money that I didn't even realize I lost, because I was under the impression, again, because I didn't have the knowledge about stocks and bonds to know that they were selecting organizations or companies for me that were low performing from the beginning, and that it made no sense for my money to be there because it wasn't really growing at the rate it really could. And with the help of Deborah and the tools that she provides for us, I was able to see, oh my gosh, look at this. This isn't moving anywhere. And so she really helped me to have a different view. And I always think about reframing. That caused me to reframe everything when it comes to money. Instead of thinking about, ooh, I might lose, I think about, what can I gain from this? And so in thinking that way, I also do this, and that is do it and forget it. And what I mean by that is put the money in the account and then don't look at it every day to see if it's up, down, And if it's a savings account, put the money in there and let it grow and just forget about it from that standpoint. And so that, I think, has really helped me to keep growing, because you can get stuck. But if you're the way you think and you're looking for opportunities and you're looking for what are the steps, what is it going to take for me to grow that opportunity instead of just, be a part of it.
The other question I have for you too, would you share with if there's someone else who's watching this and they're nearing retirement and they're fearful, and to your point, they're more concerned with not losing than gaining, and they're nearing retirement age, because you certainly were there, what would you tell them?
I would tell them to get their own information, read, find someone who teaches and coaches, because it's not enough to have a coach, because then you have another person who is making decisions for you. With the knowledge of how things work financially, you can set your own sail for whatever it is you want, a home, travel. You want to have the financial freedom. You can get all of those things once you start investing in yourself by learning more about money, how it works, and how to invest. Because saving, and that's one of the big things I learned. My mom used to say, you'll never get rich saving. And I didn't understand that. I'm like, well, why is she always telling me to save? And now I totally get it. You can't save your way to wealth. You just can't.
Oh, that's great advice. And when we come back, Jacalynn, you said a number of different things there that I think is important, just about strategies. The fact that, once you did take a look at your overall financial picture, you saw that there was a lot more opportunity for you to achieve the kind of financial success that you wanted. You just weren't sure how to do it. So when we come back, I often say that knowledge is not power. You've got a lot of information, a lot of education through Wealthy You. But the next question now is, okay, it's how do I apply it? So when we come back, I want to talk a little bit about how you execute it. You alluded to it somewhat, but now I want to talk about the execution phase of our financial success formula. So don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back. It's all about mindset, strategy, and now execution.
When we invest in ourselves, we're investing in what's next for all of us. Growing, creating, making moves that move us all forward. Together, we are Black beyond measure.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
When we invest in ourselves, our glow, our vision, our vibe, we all shine. Together, we are Black beyond measure.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you're enjoying this conversation. We're talking about how so often you're introduced with ideas that you think are going to be a panacea or just the right thing because it's easy. Today, we're talking about reverse mortgages and someone who could have found herself actually taking an alternative that would no longer allow her to leave a financial legacy for her family. Jacalynn, I want to welcome you back to Get Wealthy. And I just want to say to you how grateful I am that you would come on and share your story, because oftentimes we don't want to tell people about, our mistakes or something that we maybe don't want to divulge or talk about money. So now I want to talk about execution and help our audience to understand. You were fearful, you were looking at alternatives, someone introduced this product to you. You just happened to you didn't feel good about it. And so you were kind of searching for other alternatives and information. And through that journey, you were able to see that, wow, I hadn't really taken a look at my overall financial picture. So I want to talk about, most recently, we discovered doing your personal financial statement that you had achieved a net worth of over 7 figures. And part of that was because of that asset that you were going to liquidate. So I want to talk to you about, in terms of executing, once you got the information and you began to understand, what was the first thing that you did that had an impact on your financial picture?
The first thing that I did.
Yeah, the first thing you executed on.
Unpacking my purse.
Unpacking your purse. Let's
Unpacking my
hear more of
purse.
that. Okay.
Because I had money in so many different places, I didn't even really know what my worth was. And the other thing is I started thinking about minimalizing things. In other words, I had nice cars before and, really nice clothing and that kind of thing. And I downsized my cars and got myself a wonderful Honda. I put more money into building up the home, air conditioning, those kind of things. I also started taking things out of my house that didn't serve me. I also invested in myself because I decided that I needed to have something that I could also build that was in addition to my house. And so I invested in an educational program so that I could become a health and life coach, because that would mean I would have to learn about money, careers, and being a healthy person. And once I can teach something, then I know it, and I can really help individuals. So that was another thing I did. Trying to think of some other ways I executed.
No, I mean, that's really good. What I think is really interesting, as I was listening to you and I was reflecting, what came to mind is the fact that you just shared the fact that it was no longer wanting more things. It was getting rid of things that weren't serving you. And so to that end, why do you feel like that? What did that allow you to do? Why was that important?
Because it gives me room to think about growth, gaining, improving, escalating, those kind of words, instead of look at this thing I have, because those things don't gain you any financial freedom. They don't give you an opportunity to build things so that you can leave for your family. And they don't give you an opportunity to teach your family, your community, people you work with, how to have a better quality life. And they don't show you the possibilities because you're so fixed with them. You know, paying for a beautiful living room set doesn't get you anywhere. It's nice and people might compliment you, but it doesn't bring you anything that you can then take and grow. So it no longer makes sense to me to have, you know, a beautiful living room set. It would make sense to me to have an expensive bed that supports you and your health. And even though it may be a little costly, it has benefits. It's going to enable you to do things longer and to stay healthier. So I think that's how I think about it now.
So many of the choices that you just described are what I call the wealth mindset, and one of the principles actually, which is the first principle of the 7 wealthy habits and wealthy you, is the habit of adding value and really making decisions based on whether or not they're going to increase in value. And if we even took it a step further, one of the points that I made throughout was the fact that recently going through your finances and your personal financial statement really caused you to see that your net worth had increased to over 7 figures. And so finally, just help us understand, how did that make you feel once you discovered that what you had achieved?
It made me feel that I could climb even higher mountains. When I was much younger, I read the book, The Magic of Thinking Big, and I did that. But now I look for strategies to help me get there. That's the difference. You can think big all you want, but if you don't do anything, and if you don't, you know, write down some steps for yourself based upon what you learn along the way, you won't get there. So I think that's when I saw that, I was like, wait a minute, I can take this further. I just need to think about it in terms of what's available in my life at this time. Go
right ahead. Finish your thought.
No, I was just going to say, and so I think that it's the changing of your mindset and thinking bigger than what you are surrounded with, and that's another reason for minimalizing your world, if you will, because if you're full of all these things, you don't have any room to think about growth opportunities.
I love that. Jacalynn, you covered a lot here. And what I am hearing, and I hope what this audience also sees, is that you went from what you described as uneducated fear to confidence. And I've certainly, in the time that I've known you, have seen that growth. And when we come back, it's our summary. I want to summarize your purse story, if you will, in our Analyze, Optimize, and Maximize segment. So don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back.
When we invest in ourselves, we're investing in what's next for all of us. Growing, creating, making moves that move us all forward. Together, we are Black beyond measure.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in Black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it.
This is about covering us.
Invest in Black-owned media.
Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks.
We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible.
Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland@RolandSMartin.com.
When we invest in ourselves, we all shine. Together, we are Black beyond measure.
Welcome back, everyone, to Get Wealthy. And we truly have shared with you the remarkable story of someone who had a reversal of fortune. First, looking at her financial picture as if she had to take a last resort, and that was liquidate her assets, to now achieving over 7 figures in net worth. Let's welcome Jacalynn Blankenship back to Get Wealthy. Man, Jacalynn, I know that your story has inspired many people who are thinking that, oh, I'm too old. You were nearing retirement. And so right now, what I want to leave our viewers with is sort of now looking back on your journey from where you started, how you analyze things, what you optimize, and now what you're doing to maximize your opportunities. So let's reflect. If you were to analyze your situation based on what you know now, what did you learn?
I learned to be open-minded about money. I learned to appreciate money. And I learned that money is a tool to help you get whatever you want: health, wealth, enjoyment out of life. And I think as far as optimizing it, I'm looking for the growth opportunity in anything I purchase. And that is also reflected in my health and well-being too, because if you buy a lot of garbage to put in your body, then the results are not going to be very good. And if you use your money to enhance everything, your environment, your health, your financial picture, life can just be so fantastic.
Ah, that's great. And lastly, the other thing that I want you to leave us with is, how are you maximizing what you have learned? You know, the point that you made is, man, once I realized where I had gotten, now I know I can go further. How are you going to maximize what you've been able to accomplish thus far?
I'm going to make sure that I have more streams of income by taking my goals and desires and finding a way to get them and continue to grow financially. That, I think, is that my thoughts are, yes, like I want additional property, but I want more than to just get the property. I want the property to pay for itself. So if that means having others live in it, if that means using it for retreats or whatever the case might be, that's what I'm interested in doing. And I think that that last session that I had with you, where we started pulling in from other places in addition to retirement related and savings related assets, if you will. It just, my mind just went from A to Z that I can see the possibility for anything I've ever desired or put on a goals list or put in the boards that have images and words.
Vision boards.
A vision board, yes.
Yes.
I have started watching once again the things that I have written down or the images that I have, peeling them off and they become a reality. So for example, having my business and being able to leverage tax benefits so that, again, I'm doing everything I can to grow the money versus finding ways that are going to pull money out for taxes and other things like that.
You have truly made your shift from an income to a wealth mindset. Jacalynn Blankenship, thank you so much for sharing your story. I know you're going to inspire and inform others about the possibilities, what's possible for them in your future. Thanks so much for coming on Get Wealthy.
Thank you so very much for having me. It's my pleasure.
And when we come back, the 3 takeaways from today's show so that you can learn how to get wealthy.
When we invest in ourselves, we all shine. Together, we are Black beyond measure.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we've seen
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed today's show. It really was about you understanding that sometimes things that are easy to do aren't always in your best interest. So here are the 3 takeaways from today's show, specifically around reverse mortgages. And that is that reverse mortgages allow you to create income, but you're actually spending your equity. The decision is really easy to make, but it's hard to reverse once you start that process. It's not that it can't be reversed, but it's difficult. And then finally, you are liquidating your financial legacy. So proceed with caution. That's going to do it for me on this episode of Get Wealthy. I hope you enjoyed this conversation and that you'll share it with others who need to have this information. And if you have a senior family member or friend, make sure that you're having conversations with them about what their overall financial picture is. Thanks for watching Get Wealthy. I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, right here on Black Star Network.
When we invest in ourselves, we all shine. Together, we are Black beyond measure.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in Black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it.
This is about covering us.
Invest in Black-owned media.
Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks.
We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible.
Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is rolling@RolandSMartin.com.